Income from house property. So we are looking into income from house property capsules. So we all know there are people letting their houses, maybe one house, or they may have more than one house for rent to tenants. So the one who is giving his own house to rent is called a landlord. The one who is taking the house for rent is called tenant. Basis of charge, section 22. NAV, net asset value, is taxable. Rent is only a measure to compute NAV. So, rent is a monetary value which is used to compute net asset value. So, there will be a building, and with the building there will be attached land. So, rent of a vacant land. Suppose if we are giving a vacant land for rent, for some kind of parking or having cultivation or any for other purpose, like giving a vacant land for rent, then rent we receive will go to income from other source and not under income from house property. Suppose we are subletting the house property. We took a house for rent and we are again giving that house to other person. Then the income which we get will go to income from other source. Ownership of house property in previous year. And we will discuss about deemed ownership, registered or beneficial. Then there are some houses which is not used for business, and there are other houses which is used for business. We have seen many houses are converted into the into a business. Suppose that is not taxable under PGBP, means then it will come under income from house property. House property with disputed title, that means the ownership title is not yet clear, not yet fixed. Then owner of house property will be as decided by income tax department. Income tax department will decide who is the owner till the court order is in effect. Income from sale of house property. Suppose we are selling a house, then it is not coming under house the head income from house property. If we are selling the house, it will come, the gain will come as capital gain under the head capital gain. Rental income from house property held as stock in trade. Suppose we will have many houses as stock in trade. So how we will treat the rental income? NAV of house property held as stock in trade and nil for 2 years. Then NAV will be, if we are keeping so few number of houses as stock in trade, then NAV of that house will be nil for 2 years from the end of financial year in which completion certificate issued. If not let out for such period, we are not letting out, but we are keeping it as stock in trade, the NAV will be nil for 2 years from the end of financial year in which completion certificate is issued. Composite letting. House property plus other, we are giving for rent not only the house but also other assets and services like furniture, etc. is known as composite letting. How the tax treatment will work? Rent from house property will be taxed under the head house property itself, and rent from others like furniture or other utilities will be gone under PGBP or income from other source. So if suppose two lettings and we cannot separate the amount, we cannot separate and find the amount, means it will be taxable under the head PGBP and income from house property, income from other source. In example, hotel business and a paying guest. Expenses for other facilities deducted by computing income under section PGBP. Under the head PGBP income from other source, we can even ask the expenses provided as deduction. Income from foreign house property. Suppose we have resident, ordinary resident. So in the hands of resident or non-resident, it is taxable whether or not such income is brought into India or not. In the case of resident, not or ordinary resident or non-resident, taxable only if it is received in India. Municipal paid outside India can be claimed as deduction if TDS is done. How to compute income from house property? So there will be a gross annual value. From gross annual value, we will deduct municipal tax paid by the owner during the previous year. So if when we subtract municipal tax paid by the owner, already paid by the owner from GAV, we will get NAV, and there is a deduction, that is there is a standard deduction, whatever the figure coming here. Whatever the figure coming here NAV into 30%, we can directly reduce from that amount. So NAV minus standard deduction 30% NAV, and interest on borrowed capital can also be claimed as deduction. Next is determination of gross annual value, section 23. Calculate expected rent. So how will we get how much is the expected rent? So how much is the expected rent of the house which I have letted? Higher of municipal value. In a question they will give the municipal value or fair rent. We will look municipal value or fair rent. Whichever is higher we will take, and that figure, that amount or standard rent, whichever is lower, will be the expected rent. Okay, that is municipal value, fair rent, whichever is higher, subject to maximum of standard rent. So that amount of standard rent, whichever is lower. Calculate actual rent. How we will find actual rent? Rent receivable minus unrealized rent. How much rent we should get in this year minus how much we didn't get. That is unrealized rent. Gross annual value will be higher of expected rent. So we derive expected rent or actual rent received, whichever is higher. So how the formula go? Municipal value fair rent, whichever is higher, that figure of standard rent, whichever is lower, then with that is expected rent, that figure or actual rent received, whichever is higher. Vacancy loss. That is rent for vacant period. So if suppose we have let only for 9 months, then 3 months is vacant, then that vacant period rent is not included in actual rent received. Okay, next is with the vacancy. Calculate expected rent. Letting of property. Okay, we are giving for rent, letting out. Calculate expected rent for whole year even if house property was vacant. So even if house property was vacant, first step we will calculate the expect how much we are going to get in this whole year as the rent amount. Actual rent receivable is the rent for let out period shall only be taken. So actual rent receivable is the let out period rent. So how many months we have let out the house property, that period amount rent will be the actual rent receivable. If actual rent receivable is more than expected rent, suppose due to vacancy actual rent receivable is more than expected rent, then we will consider gross annual value as actual rent receivable. If actual rent of receivable, the same thing is less than expected rent due to vacancy, then at that time also gross annual value is equal to actual rent receivable. Suppose actual rent receivable is less than expected rent due to other reason other than vacancy. It's because of other reason, not because of vacancy, then gross annual value will be expected rent. Okay. So self-occupied property is there, unoccupied house property is there. So gross annual value is equal to nil for 2 houses. So a person can have 2 houses for him or her as their own. So a person can have maximum 2 houses self-occupied or unoccupied. Municipal tax paid has no deduction in case of self-occupied, and NAV for self-occupied house is always nil. Let out property for part year or self-occupied for part year. So we are only giving it for rent only for a part of the year. Expected rent will be calculated for the whole year. Actual rent receivable will be calculated for the let out period. So gross annual value will be higher of expected rent whole year or actual rent receivable, whichever is higher. There is a deemed let out property where we have more than 2 houses. The third house will be considered as deemed let out even though we are not letting out. Two house property is self-occupied and another all house will be treated as deemed let out property as per Income Tax Act. Gross annual value of deemed let out property will be expected rent. Why? Because there is no actual rent receivable. Gross annual value of self-occupied property will be always nil. Single house, one portion is let and other portion is self-occupied. In a house, if for one portion we are giving for rent and other portion self-occupied. Self-occupied property, gross annual will be nil and deduction of municipal tax paid will not be allowed. But the municipal tax paid deduction will be allowed in proportion for let out house, not for self-occupied house. Limit of interest 30,000 or 2 lakh as the case may be. We will discuss in which case 30,000 is coming, in which case 2 lakh is coming as in reduction for interest reduction for the house. For let-out property, expected rent shall be computed on proportion basis because one house itself we are giving, we have one part the owner is taking, other part letting out means this expected rent we will should divide in the proportion 30 is to 40 or 60 is to 40 in the proportion of the use of the space. Municipal taxes. Deduction from gross annual value if paid by the owner during previous year. So, municipal taxes if the owner has paid, deduction in previous year of payment even if they relate to past years. So, a owner suppose has paid municipal tax of last 10 years together means that 10 years tax paid together in which year? In previous year means the full deduction will be received in the previous year itself. No need to go to the particular year in which the municipal tax is applicable. You can get lump sum deduction if you are paying in lump sum. Foreign municipal tax paid is deductible if it is TDS tax. Refund of municipal tax paid not taxable. Suppose we are getting the refund of municipal tax paid, then it is not taxable. Why we are getting refund? Because it is not taxable. Okay. Next is net annual value. Net annual value means from the gross annual value, we are subtracting municipal taxes paid by the owner during the previous year. So what are deductions available? Standard deduction is 13% of NAV that we have already discussed. Whatever the case may be, we can get in the self-occupied property NAV is nil, but for let-out property in NAV 30% we can claim deduction. Interest on borrowed capital is available as a basis, accrual basis. Current year interest means interest of previous year completed of the construction and afterwards. So current year interest means one, there will be a construction, that construction is completed. So the previous year of completion of construction, in this year if we are completing the construction, the previous year, the last year interest will be taken as current year interest. Interest is equal to amount of loan into rate of interest per annum without any limit. We are whatever be the interest amount, whatever, let it be any amount, you can claim it as reduction. Pre-construction interest is there, deductible in 5 successive previous year, that is in loan taken before the construction. That is, so we can claim it as deduction in 5 equal installments from previous year of completion. From date of borrowing and ending, so we can start deduction from the date of borrowing and deduction will be ended earlier of repayment of loan or 31st March before completion of construction. Suppose now I am completing the construction means last 31st March is the last date. Interest will be aggregated from date of borrowing till end of previous year prior to previous year of completion of construction and not till the date of completion of construction. That is, in all these cases, if today the completion of construction is over, last year the previous year will be treated as completion. Okay. Interest on fresh loan taken to repay original loan. Suppose we are taking fresh loan to repay the original loan, then it is that interest is, can be taken as deductible. Brokerage or commission of arrangement of loan. So we have to pay some kind of brokerage or commission to someone to get to make us available loan. For that, no deduction is available. But we can take fresh loan to repay the original loan. Interest on unpaid interest. So, suppose we didn't pay the interest. On the interest, if we have again interest means it is not deductible. If loan is taken from outside India, we have taken loan from outside India, interest is deductible if TDS is done. Limit on deduction on interest only for self-occupied property. For let out property, any whatever be the amount which you have actually paid as interest will be claimed as deduction. Only for self-occupied property there is a limit, like for repair and renovation, they have done after 1999. Then for repair and renovation, they can get a maximum deduction of 30,000. Suppose they have taken loan for acquisition or construction of house property after 1999, and the acquisition or construction is completed within 5 years, then they can get a reduction of maximum 2 lakh for self-occupied properties. Limit is applicable combined for two. So if in now the act is telling we can have two self-occupied property. So limit is applicable for combined for both house together. We can get only this much deduction, and not for separately one house separately maximum not. The deduction is maximum, not separately. Jointly, two houses if you have, in combination you can only get the above maximum limit. Treatment of income from co-owned property. Co-owned house property is a self-occupied property where each co-owner will be there. Annual value will be treated as nil, but they can get a deduction 30k or 2 lakh separately for co-owner. Suppose husband and wife is the co-owner of a property, both of them can get the separate deduction 30 lakh to 2 lakh on the same. Co-owned house property is let out means compute income from house property as if there is one owner. Okay, if there is a co-owned house property and which is let out, and we should compute house property as if there is only one owner. Incomes of computer shall be apportioned amongst each co-owner as per their share. So that's as per their share, 30 is to 70 or 50 is to 50. Whatever be the share, in that share we will apportion the computer income. If shares of co-owners are not definite, income from house property taxed as income of association person. If we don't know what is the co-owners shares, then we will tax the rent of the house properties or income of association persons. House property owned by partnership firm means income is assessed in the hands of firm. If firm is having a house means that it will be assessed in the name of firm and not to partners. Will be assessed in the name of firm and not on the in the hands of partners. Deemed ownership section 27. Transfer of house property to spouse for inadequate consideration. We are transferring the house property to spouse, wife or husband for inadequate consideration. No sufficient consideration is not there. Then transfer is deemed to be owner transferor, that is the original owner itself will be deemed to be the owner of the house property, except they have transferred in an agreement to live apart, like divorce and all means it's okay, otherwise the original owner will be the deemed owner. Transfer of house property to minor child for inadequate consideration. If we are transferring house to a minor child for a not sufficient, for a not, the value is not sufficient, maybe for free transfer, the owner itself will be the owner of the house property, except if it is a minor married daughter means you can give. Owner of impartial estate, deemed as owner of all properties in the estate. So if it is situation that the estate cannot be partitioned or it is not able to divide, then the owner will be the deemed owner. Member of cooperative society to whom a building is allotted or leased under house building scheme, deemed as owner of that building allotted to him. So a member of a cooperative society is taking in a building of the cooperative society for rent, then that person will be treated as deemed as owner of that that building allowed to him. Although cooperative society is a legal owner. Person in possession of house property and the part performance of a contract So there is a part performance of contract and a person is a possession of house property as per transfer of property act. Buyer will be deemed as owner of house property although it is not registered in his name. So for in a part performance, partly the possession has been transferred, then the buyer itself will be the deemed owner. Person having right in a property by way of lease for 12 years or more. 12 years or more, one person is continuously using a building and then he will become the deemed owner. A person who acquires any building by way of lease for a period of 12 years or more shall be deemed to be the owner of that building. Lease is acquired from month to month. If it is a month to month or less than 11 months contract, less than 1 year contract, and we are renewing means it is okay, no issue. So we should not give rent for continuous 12 years, then the ownership gets transferred to that tenant. Exempt income from house property. Income from farmhouse. If building is immediate vicinity of agri land, if we have a agri land in that we have a farmhouse, it is not a house property. Farmhouse is not a house property. Property held for charitable or religious purpose is not a house property. House property used for own business or profession is not a house property under this head. One self-occupied house means gross annual value is nil. Income from house property of registered trade union or local authority is not considered as a let out a house property in the house property head. Annual value of one palace of ex-ruler is exempted. It is not counted as a deemed let out or deemed property in house property. Unrealized rent and arrears of rent received subsequently. Suppose we have yet to get rent from the tenant and later we received means taxable at a rate of 70%. Why? We have 30% deduction of NAV. That is the 70% amount received in the previous year. In which year you are getting, that the whole amount 70% will be treated as income. Why? Because in first formula we learned in while calculating the income NAV minus 30% NAV, the minus interest will be the fund. Only such amount was allowed as deduction earlier is taxable. When unrealized rent shall be deducted from actual rent receivable. If the following conditions are satisfied, when unrealized rent, we didn't get the rent in our hand, shall be deducted from actual rent receivable. At one time, we can reduce that we didn't get the full rent which we should get. So that receivable minus we didn't get. When we can reduce like that, the following condition is satisfied. Tenancy is bona fide. The rent details agreement, everything is bona fide. Defaulting tenant has vacated or he has taken the steps and tenant is going out, has gone out. The tenant is not in occupation of any other property of the assessee. The tenant is not having is not in control of any other property of the landlord. Assessee has taken all the reasonable steps to institute legal proceeding. Assessee has taken all the steps to have a legal proceedings to recover the unrealized rent, and assessing officer is satisfied that legal proceeding will be useless. In that situations and all, we can reduce unrealized rent from actual rent receivable.